An introduction. I go by the name of Good Medicine, and let me tell you a little backstory on that name. A friend of mine, who is an Apache Indian, had told me that Native Americans are given a name, and a name is something they earn. And he told me, he said, Steve, I've thought about over the years all the things you've done for me and how helpful you've been. And he said, you are good medicine. And that name kind of stuck with me. And I think the real essence of my channel and Patreon account is to be good medicine, is, in other words, to say and do things that help people. I believe in the Christian concept of building up one another. And I really can't overemphasize this principle or concept enough. You don't necessarily have to be a Christian to embrace it, but the concept by itself is worth considering and embracing. Because not only should you build up other people, you should certainly build up yourself, say good things to yourself and those around you. And as good medicine, I think that, I hope to be a counterweight to all the negativity in the world. If you look on the internet, there are endless number of trolls. I think anybody who's spent any time on the internet has experienced them or even just seen their comments. And they're always complaining. They're always tearing down, attacking, finding some weakness to exploit. Give you a good example of this. I had posted a video once, and I'd misspelled a word. And so someone went on the comment sections, had linked at the YouTube about how stupid I was, about, that I should have seen this, so on and so forth. And but this is very typical of the trolling I'm talking about. Is you can always find weakness with somebody and basically attack them and tear them down all day long. Now, certainly, I think some people do need criticism. I mean, there's people out there like Jake Paul, who's running crypto scams, and that other Logan Paul, and there's so many of them. They're actually doing things that are egregious and criminal and evil, and certainly they need, I think, criticism. But by and large, I think that we should try to build up one another and say good things to each other. And so that is really the main aim of the whole Good Medicine channel. That is to say things and do things and to post things that are thought-provoking, intelligent, and most of all, that will build you up, that encourage you. And part of this channel will be critiquing and pointing to other people that I think are good medicine. Right off the top of my head, I can think of somebody that I really like, that I think is certainly worth listening to, even on a daily basis, and that is George Bruno. He is on YouTube. You can check him out. He has what he called the Daybreak program. And George Bruno is a little older, speaks very well, very articulate, presents very well, very professional. You can tell that he very well groomed. He has done this for many years. He's acted. He's worked in the public domain. He seems to have a knack and talent for it. And one of the things I noticed is that I think about building ourselves up is that we have to not compare ourselves to others. And I think this is another important Christian concept. And it is really a very unknown Christian concept that it is useless to compare yourself to others. Certainly George Bruno, and I can think of many others out here on YouTube and just on the internet, on social media, that present much better than I do, that are leaps and bounds better than I am in their voice and their articulation, in just everything, their looks, you name it. They've got me beat. But that doesn't mean I don't have something to offer. That I think that what I can offer is just as valuable in content, maybe not in presentation. And I think I can certainly try to always improve my presentations. But look, the truth is just some people, they got it, and some people don't. And that is a concept I will certainly explore on this whole ideal of what I call the very quintessential quality of having it. George Bruno, he talks about how to speak better, and they're all very good tips and everything. But I think one of the things he probably doesn't realize, but a lot of people in the self-help industry, is that you either have it or you don't. And if you have it, then you just practice and you get much, much better. Certainly you can practice anything and get better at it. You can sit down and learn a language and speak the language 1 or 2 hours a day, and you will learn the language. But just because you can do it doesn't mean you're good at it. It's kind of like, let's take, for example, broadcasting on the radio. So someone who's a DJ, anybody can get in front of the mic and talk like I'm doing. Get on YouTube and talk, or any other social media outlet and talk and speak. But to actually be very good at it is another factor in and of itself. And I think some people have that quintessential quality of being good at it, and you hear consistently from them that, well, if you want to be like me, you just follow these steps, do this technique, speak like this, so on and so forth, and you will be like them. I really disagree with that. I don't think you are, going to do that. For example, let's say you want to be a lead singer, and like someone like myself, I cannot sing, but and to think that I'm going to go out here and, even if I took all the voice training in the world and went with the best, yeah, I can improve my voice, but I guarantee it, I'm not going to make it on the stage, and I'm not going to be, replace the Journey singer or anything like that. It's just not going to happen. So you have, you either have it or you don't, and that's certainly is really a very philosophical thing that I will get into more on these in my Patreon and YouTube account here with Good Medicine. But I really want to try to lay out here in this introduction what I'm about. And at its core, once again, is this whole ideal is that I'm not really doing this to make money, or make a lot of money. Because if you look at the Patreon accounts, someone who's, I think, is doing good, you may make $800-900 a month, and that's people that are actually doing pretty good. I'm not sure. I have to check out what the average is, but I think I'd seen it once, like $1,200 or $800, somewhere in there a month. I mean, some people are doing $2,000, but honestly, I'm making 10, 15 times more of that a month working a job. So really, to think I'm going to go on to Patreon and replace my income is absurd. And I don't, even if I was a George Bruno or some other, I guess, um, phenomenal talent, I don't think I would be out there replacing that income. Um, so really, I'm clearly going to stick to my day job and do much better with that. So this isn't about making money, and I'm going to have on my Patreon where people can join for free. Of course, I think Patreon is going to want to make money off of me, so I'll probably need to have some people that are paying. Um, but the thing is, it's not about me. This whole endeavor is not about me. It's about making an improvement in the lives of other people, impacting the lives of others, being what that name says, good medicine, which I think is something I've always really been my whole life anyway to a lot of people around me. I think I've been a blessing to many people. In spite of my faults and foibles, I think that I have been a positive impact on most of the people I've met. So I think I would like to expand that through this channel, and I have a lot of very interesting topics and philosophical topics that I think will catch a lot of people's interest. I am at heart a very deep thinker. I think deeply about a lot of issues, very deeply about philosophical issues. So I do have a lot to say about those things, and in a very deep way. And also I think I have a lot of very original thoughts that are my own that I cannot find anywhere on the internet or books. And you think about all the information out there, and what I'm telling you is that I have very original thoughts that are my own, that I didn't get from nobody, that I came up with on my own. So I think there's some wealth of information there. And also there's a second reason, which I'm doing, which really is the main reason, is I have a daughter who has Down syndrome, and her name is Amber Sakura, and that's her middle name, Sakura. And my wife is Japanese, so my daughter's middle name is a Japanese name, which is Sakura. And in Japanese, Sakura means cherry blossom. It was the unofficial symbol of Japan, the sakura tree, or cherry blossom tree. And Amber has Down syndrome, and I would think she's probably more on the, I guess, low end of that, because you have different people on a continuum, and some people are more on a high end. Those usually are people that have what they call mosaic Down syndrome, maybe more high functional. She's more towards a lower end. So mentally, she's like a 5-year-old. She's probably always going to be a 5 or 10-year-old the rest of her life. And like any parent, you think about long term for your children. Well, what's going to happen to them when we're gone? What's going to? Is she going to be in some type of flop house? Is she going to be in substandard asylum, or is she going to be in a nursing home that really isn't equipped to really take care of her? And so I thought, well, what I really want to do with the rest of my life is I want to create a home for mentally disabled adults, and not just any home, but an extremely high quality home for mentally disabled adults. And I want to name it after my daughter and call it Sakura Home. And so the first part is Sakura, which is named after her, in honor of her. And the home part is also very important because I think everybody needs to have a home. And I think, like any parent, you want the best for your children, whether they're fully mentally fine or they're disabled or whatever, you certainly want the best for them. I know there are a lot of parents, their children, they get older and they get on drugs, or their daughter becomes a prostitute, or they're being pimped out, or or whatever. They make a series of bad decisions, and what follows is a line of tragedies. And this is always heartbreak. The child joins a cult and they never see their parents again. So, I think all parents really ultimately, at least the ones that are good parents, want the best for their children, and they want them to have a better life than they have. And certainly the mentally disabled. And so I'm going to be directing a lot of the things in my YouTube and Patreon in pretty much every broadcast, talking about Soccer Home, that I need to do fundraising for it, um, and what I'm doing. And I think as time goes along, the people who follow along will get to know me and hopefully trust me. I certainly think people have to earn your trust. I don't think you should give your trust to anybody, because there are so many scams out there. And there's a guy on YouTube I really like a lot, and I think he's very good medicine. I'm trying to think of his name. Coffeezilla. Coffeezilla. If you don't know who he is, I highly recommend him. But he does present very well. He's very, very professional. Speaks well, articulate, highly intelligent. I just say a lot of good things about the guy. I really like him, and he certainly has made it kind of his mission to go after a lot of scammers. And when you look at a lot of these scammers, and I've listened to him in great detail about a lot of the scammers he's talked about, there's so many. I mean, he's never going to run out of scammers to find. But if you look at them, they all present very well. They're very charismatic people. If you were to listen to them versus me, you would. Most people would probably go buy something from them before they buy something from me, because they know how to push all the right buttons, how to edit videos, the psychological tricks. It's almost as if they know it intuitively, and they're very good at getting your money. And a lot of these guys have raked in hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in some cases. And off to the beach they go. I mean, they're living the high life, and most of them have not suffered any consequences. Certainly Coffeezilla is on them, and few of them have been brought to justice. But sadly, most of them jump from one scam to another, and they live the high life. They got tons of cash and money that they've stolen, and they have no shame. So I want to rest assure the people who listen to me, I am the polar opposite of these people, totally polar opposite of these people. And part of the mission of good medicine is to point out bad medicine. I've mentioned a few names here. I can mention Andrew Tate. I have no qualms about naming people. I have no qualms about mixing it up with these people, arguing with them. I'm afraid of their lawsuits. Nothing. If someone is bad medicine, I am going to tell you, and believe me, I don't think I'm going to be wrong when I say it. So the whole thing is to direct people in the right way, away from the bad people toward the good people, because these people, Logan Paul, Andrew Tate, there's so many of them. I'll be naming them, but they are the quintessential toxicity that will destroy your life. And I just want to rest assure people, as you get to know me through these broadcasts and other things I do, that you can trust me. And I don't think you should be given a soccer house until you can trust me, what I'm doing. And I will also be mentioning what I think are some other good charities people should give to. Maybe they don't want to give to Soccer House, that's fine. But there are certainly other good charities. The Shriners, for example, I think that's a very good variety for children. Variety's Children Network is another good charity. I think people should give to. I've given money to these places, and I think they're extremely good in what they do and honest. Um, and there's a lot of bad charities out there too. If you want to kind of get a look at what some of the bad charities are, go to Charity Watch on the internet, and they will list in detail. They do a good job of talking about a lot of the bad ones. Almost get a feeling there's more bad ones than good ones. After looking at Charity Watch, it's quite alarming. But I think for me, my main mission at my age now, I'm 55, is to create Soccer Home, and I have some quite grandiose plans. I want to make it a high quality home. I want to build in traditional Japanese architecture. I want to make it beautiful. I want to put a Japanese garden in the back, and make it really nice. I will say this, as far as starting a residential home for people that are disabled, I would say, and this may sound braggadocious, but I really believe this, and I'm not trying to be braggadocious, is that I think I'm the best person qualified to create Soccer Home. And this is from direct experience. First of all, like any parent, like I said before, I understand you have a child that's disabled. You want the best for them. And that is the situation I'm in. I'm living that situation. And, I have fears and concerns for my daughter. And so I understand firsthand, if you have a disabled child, as autism or Down syndrome or something else, that you want the best for them. So from that perspective, I'm in the same boat. Also, I think I'm the best candidate to start this because I grew up in residential settings. I grew up with no family, no mother, no father, everything you can think of about being abused. If you could list it, write it down. It happened to me. Every form of abuse, every form of neglect, severe poverty, and I will get into this stuff in my broadcast about what's happened to me and tell you stories about it. But I think from having firsthand lived this experience in residential settings, I know what it takes to create the proper residential setting. And certainly there's all kinds of models and things you can create and that are out there, and I don't think any particular model is perfect or answers all issues or questions, but I think I do have what I think is a very good model that works from firsthand experience. It's not from going to school or getting a degree or anything like that. It is, once again, a very lived experience that I know firsthand. I think that is far better, far greater in-depth knowledge than you could ever get from any type of textbook or school or teacher, is the first-hand lived experience of living in something like that. So this is really the main thrust of what I'm doing with this Patreon and YouTube channel, is to really promote Soccer Home, and I will do it in various ways. Will I be able to do it? I don't know. I think you always have these grandiose dreams and visions of what you can do, but sometimes reality gets in the way. I think the having already set up a nonprofit, if, let's say, I can't do it, the money, it's all going to go to Variety Children's Fund. So it's already going to go to a charity I think I like and it's worthwhile. So if God forbid I do fail, it does go to another charity. And I think the one thing I must emphasize, and I think is important in any relationship, in any business, in anything you do, is trust. And I think it is the basis of all relationships. If you can't trust somebody, there is no relationship. And so I really want to let the people listen to me, get to know me, and trust me. Um, and I don't think, as an individual, I am certainly not above any type of criticism. I'm not above any type of critical review. I am certainly don't know everything. I certainly am always willing to admit that I could be wrong about something. So I'm certainly not going to come here as a guru either on this channel, like Good Medicine, like I know better than you. Um, I'm simply going to present information that I think will be helpful to you in many ways, in many aspects. And also, I think I'm going to be able to open your mind to a much wider and grander universe than you think is actually out there. Um, so this is the very essence of my efforts and channels. I will have contact information. You can contact me via email. I certainly am going to be very accessible. Be willing to answer and interact with people and answer questions, and be very open with people, very honest, and just try to do my best. So I'm not really going to try to be this something I'm not. I'm simply not going to be George Bruno and present as well as he does. And that's not my goal. Like I said, I don't think even if I tried I could, or even some of the other great, like CoffeeZilla. I mean, I'm not going to present as well as he does. But the point is not to present well and to say, oh, Steve looks great, he sounds great, and da da da. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for you, the people, the listeners. I'm doing it for Soccer Home. This is more of a labor of love. I'm not really going to make any money off this. Um, Whatever I get from Patreon, percent goes to them, and I make a little money myself. But like I said, I make so much more money just on my day job. I really don't need it, and it's not really going to make a difference to me anyway. And the money that's for Soccer Home is for Soccer Home. And one of the things is that I think that anything, when you're dealing with money and finances, because this happens so often, and I've heard so many stories in my life about people who embezzle money, steal money, lie, cheat, taking money from organizations, nonprofits, businesses, what have you, is that financial aspect of it has to be open to critical review, has to be open to the public. And I don't mean about giving out the account number, because of course someone is going to steal the money if that's the case. I think what I got to worry about, if I get millions of dollars, let's say, I got to be worried about people coming in and trying to take it from me, all right? People trying to get into the organization and embezzling it is really where I got to watch out for. But I'm certainly willing to allow, any accounting firm or whatever, or come in, look at it, and report it to the public. Because I think that you have to have this kind of accountability, particularly when you're dealing with something that is a public resource, a charity, a nonprofit, even a business. I think you really have to, let people know somehow, some way that, hey, this is what it is. And I'm certainly willing to allow anybody who wants to come and meet me or walk into the bank and with me. Of course, I'm not going to give you, important information like account numbers, but I'm certainly going to let you look at it, to make sure everything's on the up and up. I mean, anybody. But of course, then again, I have to be careful because, there's always somebody out there trying to angle in and take what you got, So having dealt with many unscrupulous scammers and being scammed in my life before, I'm certainly aware of these type of people and how they operate. I'm looking at writing a book called The Predator Class, and so I have had to, unfortunately, having grown up the way I did with no family, and in some not so good settings, I've had to deal with a lot of this predator class type of person on every level. So I do know them very well. And I think for me, knowing in depth about the predators, the narcissists, the psychopaths, sociopaths, what have you, knowing them firsthand experience, I have, as Soccer Home, I will have to protect those people from them, because certainly the predator class is always looking to take advantage of anybody. When my daughter turns 18, she will get a Social Security check, and for disability. And there are people out here that will take their money. I'll get them to sign, here's a soda and French fries, and sign your monthly check over to me. And they have no qualms about doing it. There's lots of people out there like that. And, that's why you have to put that money in a trust so that they can't. And so there's a lot of things, you got to do to protect these type of people. And so I'm certainly on the forefront of being able to create a system that protects the mentally disabled. I think I want to create a home, like I said, that is of the highest quality, because I think for so long our society has put people like this in asylums and in extremely substandard housing, warehoused them, and the results are just, if you've seen any videos on it, Waldo did one back in the 70s about Willowbrook, which you can look up online, and it's sad. It's really sad. A state institution there in New York called Willowbrook that it's just horrific. You wouldn't want your worst enemy to move into there. But this is how they've been treated. They've just been kind of like shuffled off to a corner of society and warehoused and treated badly. And I think the whole point of Soccer Home is to raise that standard of care for people to the best and greatest level. And so that's really my mission. And it is also to enrich your life with the information I'm giving you, which I think will enrich your life, will make your life better. And I think it's also a two-way street. I think the people that I interact with can also enrich my life and certainly expand my view of things. So, with all that said, I'll close this introduction. But I'll just let you know my name is Steve Elliott, and I go by the name Good Medicine for this channel, and I certainly look forward to meeting and talking to anybody who's open to communicating with me and with what I'm doing. And I certainly wish you all the best. Godspeed. Thank you.